Hey guys, this is Mark. Welcome back. In this video, I will talk about variables. If you just thought FlowRunner training is becoming too technical, variables are only for developers. Please hang on with me. I will try to make it as simple as possible, and I will hope that I will convince you that variables are not just for developers. So if you are not familiar with variables as a concept, let's take a moment to discuss what they are. Suppose an automation is running and you have your specific steps, and AI agents are doing something, AI assistants are doing another thing. They're all communicating, and then there is some data that you just need to remember. And sort of like think about a post-it note. Like if you're doing some work and you just need to scribble down something and put a post-it note and just put it up on your monitor or somewhere in your office. Doesn't matter. That post-it note is sort of a token that contains some information. Variables are the same thing, except that you can take the post-it note, that very post-it note, erase it and put something else in it, and it's still the same post-it note, that yellow, purple, blue, whatever, but it has updated information. Okay, so let's say that you write down how many times you did push-ups today. Let's say you're just doing regular push-ups, and you did 10. You write 10 into that post-it note that sits right there in your fridge. And then as day goes on, you did another 10 push-ups. So now you update the post-it note with 20, or you do 10 plus 10, whatever really works for you. By the end of the day, if you keep updating your post-it note, you will know exactly how many push-ups you did. It's going to be exactly the same thing with variables. You create a variable in FlowRunner, you put in some value in there. It could be some number of push-ups, if you will, or really anything. It doesn't have to be a number. It could be text, string. It could be more complex data structure. You put it into that variable. And while that flow is running, that variable is going to be there. You can go back to it. You can take the value that's in there, see what it is. You can make some changes on that value and put it back into this variable. And that makes it quite powerful. It doesn't sound like a lot. It doesn't sound like it's super helpful. Trust me, there will be situations when it's helpful. At the very minimum, a good example of using variables is when the flow starts and you have some configuration parameters, such as, let's say your flow sends out a lot of emails and you have your email signature, which you don't want to retype every time you use a block to send an email. Well, you can define your email signature once, assign it to a variable, and anytime, whenever you send out an email, if you want to insert your signature in the automation, you just use the variable that contains your signature. The benefit of this is that if something were to change in your signature, let's say you got a promotion, your phone number has changed. There's only one place where you go to modify it, and that's where you assign that signature value to a variable. I think that's a good reason. Now, how do you use variables in FlowRunner? So for this, there is a special block that sits in this utils category that is called set variables. So if you drag it out here and click on it, you will see that it has this interface. So there are two primary elements that you need to work with. One of them is called data bucket. Okay, so data bucket is sort of like a very or somewhat non-technical term that defines a place where your variable lives. So, for example, you will have some variables that are of a configuration nature, like with signature, right? So what you can do is in the data bucket, you can select default, which is a data bucket that is present there, or you can assign and create a new data bucket. So I just typed in configuration. You click configuration. So now a data bucket called configuration is created. So here, if you create a variable, so here in this, in perform changes, you type in signature, and in here, you can just add whatever signature you want to add. If you want to make it multi-line, click on expression input. This opens up, and here under inputs, you have multi-line text. Double click, and here you can just add your signature. Just like that. Okay, so now click apply. So now the entire value that sits in your signature, okay, the whole thing that you entered, will be available in that variable. Okay, how do you get a hold of that value once the flow runs? Well, it will be available in expression editor. So let's say we're using some block, and for this I'm going to use my log message. So in here in this log message, if I want to get a hold of that variable, you see it right here in expression editor, there is now this pill, this element that says configuration, which is the name of the data bucket, and then the name of this variable signature. So when I use this right here and click apply, whatever value that you put into that signature variable will be used as the input parameter for this log message. Okay. And with this, you can do a lot of different things. Okay, so if you need to modify this value, again, you will just use set variables again to modify the value and update that signature. That doesn't really make sense, but if it's some number or whatever, that's what you will do. Inside of set variables, you can assign more than one. So it's here we assign one, the variable signature with the specific value. If I need to assign more, just click add new, and there's going to be again this name and value pair where you can create additional variables. And that's it. It's very, very simple. I'm sure there will be plenty of use cases when you use it. We are getting to the point where we'll build the next automation, and then in there we will use set variables. So it will be a few more lectures for other things, for other knowledge that you need to accumulate, and then we'll get to the automation where you will use this block. That's it, guys. I hope you found this useful. Thank you for watching this video, and until next one, happy automating.